Thanks for joining me. My name's Matt. I work in the FVIM area at Emily Carr University. This little video is about how to import your animation into Pro Tools, and it's going to be a series which will take you through the process of building up your soundtrack, mixing it, and delivering it to the proper levels. So first things first, find Pro Tools. It's either in your dock or in the applications folder. So we'll go over to Pro Tools and say File, New Session. A session is a project in Pro Tools language. So we're going to create a blank session. We're going to leave it at WAV. It wouldn't matter if you chose AIFF. It's the same type of audio in two different containers, but WAV is what we'll just leave it at. Bit depth should be 24. This gives you way more headroom and dynamic range than 16-bit, so it's best to keep it at 24. We're going to leave interleave selected. If it's not selected, check it, as that will enable us to be able to import stereo or interleaved files. Sample rate is like frame rate, and for film or motion picture or animation, it's 48 kilohertz or multiples of 48. 44 would be for a CD. So when your setup page looks like this, click OK, and it will build the session. Oh, rather, it will ask you to name the session. So we'll just call this Anna, and then choose where we want it to be placed, and then click Save. It's going to build the session for us. There's only two windows in Pro Tools. If you go up to the Mix or the Window menu, you can select Mix and Edit. Those are our two windows in Pro Tools. That's as simple as it is. There's a timeline, and then there's a mixer window where you basically adjust volume and panning settings. So we need to pull in a film. So we go up to the File menu and go down to Import. And this is where you could import audio or MIDI or other things, but we're going to import video. It's going to ask me where that video is, and I know mine's on my desktop. There it is. Anastasia Animatic. Click Open. And then you get a little dialog here that asks you how you want to import it. Do you want to slide the film right to the session start or the beginning of your project? Do you want to put it at a specific selection like I highlighted there, or at a specific time code spot? I'm just going to say session start, and that's what I recommend for you. And I also think you should always import audio from the file, so leave that checked. That way, if there is audio from the file, it will come in as well. So I'm going to click OK, and it's going to pull in the film. Okay, now it's pulled in the film, but now it says, hey, where do you want these audio files that were associated with this film to go? And someone out there probably has a good reason to do otherwise, but I haven't seen it yet. So always just put the audio files where Pro Tools wants, which is just in the audio files folder. When we create the session in our drive, it makes a folder called whatever we called it, which is in this case is Anna, and then it makes an audio files folder. And then it annoyingly asks you where you want to put those audio files. And since I want to put them where it wants me to put them, I'm going to click Open. Sorry for that long-winded explanation. Okay, you can kind of see behind the film here that audio and video were imported. Here's the film window. You can move it around. You can slide it over to an external monitor if you have that luxury, or you can just grab the corners and shrink it or grow it as you want. If we look at the tracks in our edit window, they also are mirrored in the mix window. Well, the audio track is mirrored, as you can see there. It's the same as this one here. The film itself, if I click in to the purple track here, I'm jumping around in the film, or I can click and drag. Okay, it does show frames, which, believe it or not, takes up a lot of CPU power. I don't know why it does. So I recommend that you change the view for your video to blocks. That's just going to make it a big purple slug. You can still click around in it. It just doesn't represent the frames, which is totally unnecessary. Next, you will want to notice that there's a 24 frames per second indication here. and it's showing white. That means that my film is 24 frames per second and it's synced up with my session, which is 24 frames per second. If for whatever reason I received a film that was in a different frame rate, like 23.976, it would say 23.976 here, but it would be in red font, not white, indicating that there's a mismatch. So I'd either have to re-render my film in the proper format, or if for whatever reason I could go up to my setup menu, session, and over in the top right, change the timecode rates to match what I'm working with, if that's what I was working with. But we're not, so we're going to leave it at 24. Just wanted to show you where you would do that. And you could change all those things we set up at the beginning again if you needed to. Close that window and it's going to accept those changes that we didn't make. Okay, so the waveform here, the green, is the audio that's with this film. It's a little bit small image-wise, so I'm going to go up here to the audio zoom in, click on the top half of this button, and it zooms up. Bottom half zooms down. So I just want to see a bit more, that's all. There's no hard and fast rule here. I just want to see a bit more. And the other buttons, left and right, zoom in and out in time. So, join us in our next video. Thanks for watching.